So, I'm making this video in hopes that it might help someone, if anyone. I mean, if it at least helps one person, that's still someone. That's still more than nothing. That's still like positive over negative. But I mean, I feel like this is not new knowledge. I feel like this is something that the world knows. But I'll get right into it. Essentially, to solve any problem you have, well, any mental problem specifically, this ain't gonna get you a lot of money. This ain't a get rich quick scheme. It's just as simple as writing down the problem, identify the problem. It's like the hazard control triangle. You identify the problem that you've got. Say, for example, procrastination. I don't know. I don't know how to use. Um, I don't know how to use MS Paint, so I'm just gonna do this. Procrast. Holy shit! As you can probably tell, procrastination. There you go. Got procrastination. I'm left-handed and I'm holding the mouse with my right hand, okay? Cut me some slack. Anyways, you've got procrastination. And so for this, I mean, always ask yourself why. That's like one of the symptoms of autism. Always ask yourself why. Why are you procrastinating about this thing? At the end of the day, procrastination only ends in one of two ways. Either you quit, you give up completely, and you don't ever do the thing, or you do the thing and you eventually go through with it and, you know, success. Starting out is harder than starting up. I think I just ripped that straight from Getting Over It by Bennett Foddy, that Rage game. But starting a new project or starting something new, it can be really overwhelming and you can be getting hit with a lot of emotion and constantly getting attacked by new stimuli. So by breaking it down into more manageable stuff and taking your time with it, because nobody's rushing you, unless obviously you might be procrastinating that you've got a work deadline. You've got like maybe a week left and a massive stack of papers that you have to get through or whatnot, depending on what job you have. But I mean, at the end of the day, procrastination is only delaying the inevitable. It's only going to end one of two ways. Either you quit, if you have that massive stack of papers and you quit, you probably lose your job. But if you have the massive stack of papers and just get into it, just force yourself to start somewhere, even if it's even if it's something completely unrelated to the task. Just sit down and write a mind map like I'm doing right now. Sit down and write the problem that you're facing. If the problem is that there's a new topic that you really want to get yourself into, but it's overwhelming, then sit down and write the topic about the topic that you wanted to get into. If it's, say, like music. So if you wanted to get into music, for example, it's a massive topic. There's so many different genres, there's so many different things to do. But you can break it down. You can say, so obviously I've got here, there's lyrics. Writing lyrics is a whole separate thing where you've got writing and reading and whatnot. But you've also got producing the music. You can break each one of these down into loads and loads of different problems, and the smaller you break a bigger problem down into it, it's called decomposition. It's a thing in coding. But if you take down a bigger problem, which is in this case obviously procrastination or getting into a new topic, break it down and make it simpler and simpler until it's piss easy to get into. So procrastination, it's like, why are you procrastinating? Because I don't want to do the thing. So then you break that down, you say, why don't I want to do the thing? And then you get your answer. Why don't you want to do the thing? Then it's too overwhelming, or there's too many things to do in that regard. So if there's too many things to do, then you can break that down and say, okay, well, I won't rush it. I'll do one thing per day, or I'll just ease into it bit by bit. Any progress is still progress. Whereas getting into a new genre, it's overwhelming. Why is it overwhelming? Because there's too much stuff. And how to get around that? If there's too much stuff, you segment it into all the different various sections, however many there may be, doesn't matter. The more bubbles and connections that you pop out, the simpler it'll get. Because the more you write down, the more bubbles you've got, the more sections it's split up into. So you could split up production into like online represented by and in real life represented by I. That's already split into two sections. And then there'll be platforms. There'll be platforms for the online space. There'll be platforms for the IRL space. There'll be studios for both of them. There'll be different instruments and availability for each one as well. So IRL, you might have a local studio that has like loads of really interesting instruments that a software like GarageBand might not have. GarageBand is a pretty good one though. I wanted to use that myself, but fucking MacBooks are so expensive. But that's really how it is. It's take a big thing, break it down into smaller things, and always ask yourself why. So with this, you ask yourself why you're feeling this way, what's causing you to feel that way, and what can you do to change why that's causing it to be that way. Even if you're like feeling depressed, it's like, why are you feeling depressed? What is directly causing that? Now, in some cases, you can feel depressed for no reason, but I know from having it ages myself, having it pretty much my entire life, and having it run in the family as well, that the main thing about depression is that it's typically caused by something. So, whether it be like even something as simple as a lack of motivation. Like, a lack of motivation was one of the problems I had written down on my piece of paper. Because it's like, why do you not feel motivated? What is stopping you from feeling motivated? Is it because something is too overwhelming? Or it feels like there's too many things coming at you at once? Or that it's just, or does it feel too unlikely for it to happen? But at the end of the day, always give it a shot. You don't have to do what teachers in school say and say like, always give it your best shot and always do the best you can at something ever, never half-ass something. And it's like, there's some truth to that. But if you always try your best on everything ever, you'll just get exhausted. And chances are you won't get very far if you're not actually enjoying the thing in the first place. Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. If you don't actually want to do the thing, no amount of forcing yourself, trying to live a lie to make you want to do the thing, is gonna make you want to do the thing. Like, it's just doomed to fail. The root has to be in passion. If you want to do something in life, you have to have a passion for it. With me, I just take a problem, I ask myself, why am I having this problem? And then right there, you kind of already have a new problem, but it's a much smaller, much more manageable problem. It's essentially the root of this problem. If you imagine it like a tree, you've got, it starts out at the roots, then you've got the trunk, which is the main thing. The trunk is the main problem, the thing holding up the entire tree. If you didn't have the trunk, there'd just be a bush. There wouldn't even be a tree there to begin with. But the root is the thing providing life to the trunk. So essentially, by finding out the root of the problem, what's actually causing your problem, you have a completely new problem that's much deeper and much easier to solve. So say, for example, procrastination, you've got to figure out, why are you procrastinating? If you do have that massive stack of sheets that you have to get to, this massive stack of papers that you have to get through, why do you not want to get through those papers? Because it feels like a lot of work, it's too much effort. But you'll find as soon as you start, you don't like feel the need to stop. Like, you just gotta get all in. You just gotta start it. Get in with it. Procrastination is, like I said before, just delaying the inevitable. It's kind of just wasting time. It's sitting there just feeling bad, not doing anything with your life, and that's just sad. Like, for everyone, there's no good to procrastinating about something. Taking it slow, absolutely. But at the end of the day, any progress is still progress. If this is something that can be done over the long term, then by all means, just take it one baby step at a time. no one should be rushing you along if it's a long-term process. If it's short-term, then you don't even really have the time to sit and procrastinate. You just got to get all in, no questions asked. Got just dive head first and hope for the best. But you can at least prepare yourself, and hopefully this helps some people feel seen and understood that they're not the only ones facing their problems. Unfortunately, humans aren't that special. Chances are, if you've got a problem, somebody else in the world probably also has that exact same problem. Better, sometimes, even sometimes worse than you. Chances are, whatever problem you're going through, you're not the person who's going through it the worst, and you're also not the person who's going through it the best. You're probably in the middle ground. But that's all I've really got to say, and I hope that helps someone, if anyone. But it sure helped me. Another thing I got that helped me the most, that started this whole thing, was writing down my problems. I have a little book here. I've been, like, my whole life one of those people who's like, I just want to keep everything in my head. I shouldn't need to write stuff down. It seems kind of silly, seems kind of babyish to have to write it down. But as soon as I wrote down my problems and wrote down the solutions, it's like a massive fucking weight just got lifted off my shoulders. Because now I'm like, why do I feel relieved? And it's probably because you've taken the problems out of your brain and put it onto the paper instead. So you no longer have to worry about those problems because you're not storing them in your head, you're storing them on the paper. And the paper will always say the same thing unless you go out of your way to stop it saying that, like if you Tipp-Ex it over. But the paper is always going to say the same thing, regardless. Whereas your brain might change, or things might come up, or you might forget a solution to a problem. You might have a problem and then come back later and be like, what was the solution again? I've completely forgotten. But the book will always hold that information. So I think it's just a better and more efficient method. But yeah, hope that helped.